Today, we are going to explore a topic that is often hidden in the shadows of our minds. It is a topic that can feel heavy, but bringing it into the light is the only way to transform it. We are going to talk about that nagging feeling that perhaps, deep down, you do not deserve the good things that happen to you. Have you ever reached a milestone, achieved a goal, or received a wonderful surprise, and instead of feeling pure joy, you felt a strange hollowness? Or perhaps, no matter how much you accomplish, you still feel like you are not quite enough. The answer to why this happens is rarely simple, but often it points to a silent struggle with self-loathing. Now, self-loathing is a very strong word. It sounds intense. You might be thinking, Jenny, I do not hate myself. But self-loathing is not always a loud, screaming hatred. It often manifests as a quiet, subtle anger directed inward. It is a persistent, negative view of oneself, a pattern of self-sabotage, and a chronic lack of self-esteem. It is the wall that stands between you and the peace you deserve. It is important to be aware of these feelings because you cannot heal what you do not acknowledge. So, today, we are going to walk through 7 signs that you might be suffering from self-loathing without even knowing it. The first sign is that you tear yourself down relentlessly. We all have an inner critic. It is that little voice that tells us to be careful or points out a mistake so we can learn. But when you are struggling with self-loathing, that critic becomes a tyrant. It takes over the courtroom of your mind. Keeping an eye on your shortcomings can be a healthy way to grow, but never allowing yourself room to breathe stems from an immense dislike for your current self. You might find that you think extremely harsh things about your character. You might indulge in self-pity, not as a way to process emotion, but as a way to punish yourself. If tearing yourself down has become a daily habit, it is a red flag. Everyone on this planet makes mistakes. It is a fundamental part of the human experience. But when you mess up, do you offer yourself grace, or do you condemn yourself? If you are so hard on yourself that you cannot forgive even the smallest error, that is self-loathing at work. You are quick to blame yourself whenever something goes wrong, even if the situation was completely out of your control. You assume responsibility for the failure because it confirms the negative story you believe about yourself. Furthermore, you likely never commend yourself for a job well done. You could do 100 things right, but you will obsess over the one thing you did wrong. You are plagued by feelings of guilt, worthlessness, and inadequacy, and these feelings manifest as constant internal complaints about who you are. The second sign is that you feel deeply insecure around others. We live in a world that is constantly inviting us to compare ourselves to everyone else. But if you find that the presence of other people makes you feel small, unworthy, or insecure on a regular basis, it is time to ask yourself why. Most likely, it is because you are constantly measuring your behind-the-scenes reality against everyone else's highlight reel. You feel like you will never be able to measure up, no matter how hard you try or what you do. Subjecting yourself to this kind of harsh judgment is a definite sign that you do not hold yourself in high regard. When you look at someone else, do you celebrate their beauty or success? Or do you immediately focus on all the things they have that you do not? This habit makes you ungrateful for the blessings in your own life because you are too busy counting someone else's blessings. You might find that you cannot help but feel bad about yourself whenever you are around someone who appears happy, confident, smart, attractive, or successful. Instead of seeing them as inspiration, you see them as proof of your own inadequacy. This is not because you are a jealous or bad person. It is because your internal self-worth barometer is broken. You feel that their light diminishes yours, rather than realizing there is enough light for everyone. The third sign is one that is often overlooked. You neglect your self-care. I want to ask you a question. Do you want your loved ones to be happy, healthy, and taken care of? Chances are you probably answered yes right away without even thinking about it. Because when you love someone, you want the absolute best for them. You would make sure they ate nutritious food, got enough sleep, and saw a doctor when they were sick. So if you really loved yourself, would you not want that for you too? This is why neglecting your self-care is actually a form of self-hatred. It shows up in the basics. You do not sleep well, perhaps staying up late simply to delay the next day. You are not eating right, either depriving yourself or numbing your feelings with food that makes you feel sluggish. You do not exercise, not because you are lazy, but because you do not feel your body is worth the effort of maintenance. You do not try to look nice for yourself, and you avoid doing the little hobbies that make you happy. It is not that you do not have the time. We make time for what we value. It is more about refusing yourself the pampering because of a deep-seated grudge you hold against yourself. Since your insides are at war with you, it only seems right to let yourself show it outwardly as well. When you look in the mirror, if all you see is a haggard reflection unworthy of love, you will continue to treat that reflection with neglect. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The fourth sign is that you do not let yourself be happy. This is a painful one to admit. You might be a pessimist who is incredibly quick at finding the negative aspect in every single situation. Even when things are going right, you are waiting for the other shoe to drop. You are wary of compliments or praise because they feel mocking or fake. You do not see yourself in a positive light, so when someone else says something nice, your brain rejects it as a lie. You refuse to believe what others say about your talents or your beauty. However, paradoxically, you take their criticism to heart immediately. You cling to negative feedback because it reinforces your own distorted view of yourself. It feels true to you because it matches the cruel voice in your head. You are not comfortable letting other people help you because you believe your troubles are yours alone to bear. And perhaps, deeply, you feel you deserve to struggle. You find it hard to feel good about yourself. And this mindset sucks all the joy out of your life. You resent the way you are, and you deprive yourself of anything even remotely akin to delight. These are just a few of the ways that you deny yourself happiness, perhaps even unknowingly, as you fester in your own self-hatred. You might even feel guilty when you are happy, as if you are betraying your true nature of suffering. The fifth sign is that you isolate yourself from others. Humans are wired for connection. We need community to survive and thrive. But when you are suffering from self-loathing, you struggle to maintain relationships because you feel like you do not deserve their love. Often, you feel their attention and affection is a burden for you to carry, or that you are a burden to them. You do not consider yourself good enough to remain in the circle of friendship or family. Since you have such a low concept of your own self, you assume that everyone else is judging you just as harshly as you judge yourself. It may look like they are doing you a favor by including you, so you stay back because you think they are better off without you. You cancel plans at the last minute, not because you do not want to go, but because you fear your presence will ruin the mood. You feel guilty for hanging out with them because you believe your presence is an intrusion. You think you are holding them back from having a real good time with better people. Your inability to love yourself makes you unwilling to accept love from others as well. As a result, you isolate yourself to refrain from inconveniencing others with your existence. This isolation then reinforces the feeling that nobody cares, creating a lonely cycle of despair. The sixth sign is that you put on a facade for others. You become a chameleon. You are one way when you are by yourself, perhaps sad, quiet, or angry. And then you become a completely different character when you are around other people. You wear a heavy mask and do not let other people see the real you because you hate who you are. You are terrified that if they saw the real you, they would run away in disgust. So, you perform. You try so hard to fit in and be liked by everyone. You constantly wish that you were someone else, someone funnier, prettier, smarter, or more easygoing. You feel ashamed of your true self, your true feelings, and your true needs. You think that no one will ever be able to accept you, so you would rather pretend to be someone you are not. This performance is exhausting. It drains your energy because you are constantly monitoring your behavior, your words, and your expressions to ensure the mask does not slip. This leads to a profound sense of loneliness because even when people say they love you, you think, they only love the mask, not me. You deny yourself the chance to be loved for who you truly are because you never give anyone the chance to meet that person. And finally, the seventh sign is that you are afraid to dream big. Having ambition and dreaming of something big for yourself scares you to your core. You smother your own hopes and aspirations before they can even take a breath because you think you will never be able to achieve them. You tell yourself, "What is the point? I will only fail anyway." You look down on yourself and all that you can do, and you refuse to leave your comfort zone. The comfort zone may be miserable, but at least it is familiar. The possibility of failure and rejection terrifies you because you do not see failure as a learning opportunity. You see it as a confirmation of your worthlessness. You easily feel discouraged and worthless the moment you encounter even a tiny setback. You deny yourself opportunities to grow, and you have no new experiences because you do not believe in yourself. Your insecurities make it hard for you to see your capabilities, and you cannot allow yourself to succeed. You might even self-sabotage when you get close to a goal, just to return to the safety of failure. You keep your world small because you feel small. My dear friends, hearing these signs can be heavy. It can be emotional to realize that you have been treating yourself this way. But please, listen to me closely. We all have a lot of self-destructive behaviors that are toxic for our mental health and emotional well-being. You are not broken. You are not a lost cause. So many of us struggle with feelings of insecurity, emptiness, and worthlessness that it can sometimes lead us to hating ourselves. It is a shared human struggle. But here is the good news. Becoming more aware of your self-hatred is the first, most powerful step to overcoming it. You cannot change what you do not see. By naming these behaviors, you take away their power. You realize that this is not just who I am, but rather a pattern I have learned. And if it was learned, it can be unlearned. With time, patience, support, and dedication, you can learn to love yourself. You can learn to be your own best friend instead of your own worst enemy. You can learn to live a happier, healthier, and more authentic life. I want to invite you to start small. Choose one of these signs we discussed today. Just one. And this week, try to do the opposite. If you tear yourself down, try to catch one negative thought and replace it with a neutral one. If you neglect self-care, drink one extra glass of water or go to bed 30 minutes earlier. If you isolate, send one text to a friend just to say hello. These tiny acts of rebellion against self-loathing eventually build a revolution of self-love. Did these points remind you of someone? Maybe they reminded you of yourself. Can you now see where such behavior stems from and why it has persisted for so long? Did these points make it easier for you to name your emotions and understand your behaviors? I really hope so. Self-awareness is the key that unlocks the prison door. Please let us know in the comments below. Share your story. Share your struggles. This community is a safe space where we support each other. We are all walking this path together, and no one has to walk it alone. Also, please share this video with anyone you think might benefit from it. You never know who is suffering in silence and needs to hear these words today. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and for being open to looking at the hard stuff. Be gentle with yourself today. Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a small child or a beloved pet. You deserve that love. We will see you in the next one. But until then, keep nurturing that beautiful, happy aura. Bye for now.